Hey, 8th grade. So our learning target today is I can simplify expressions using the distributive property. So you should be on page 1 of our packet. All right, so what is the distributive property? We have a distributive property involved in math because we have the order of operations, which is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And the rule is that you always have to take care of parenthesis first. So where the distributive property comes in is when we are in a situation where we cannot kill a parenthesis. What can we do? Is there a way to survive that? It always happens when there is a variable on the inside and we're stuck at parenthesis. We would not be able to move on in the order of operation. So we have this strategy called distributive property that allows us to kill parenthesis. What we do is we take the number on the outside, which right now is called A, and we distribute or multiply it to the first number on the inside, which is currently called B. And we just have A times B. Now, when we're working in our work today, most of the time those will be numbers. A few times we'll have a variable there. We keep the sign in the middle, and then we take the number A and we distribute it to the number C. So A times C. So we have A times B, keep sign in middle, and then we have A times C. That's called distributive property. We will do that for addition and subtraction. So let's take a look at a subtraction problem. I said no, we're going to stop, chop, chop. Change that into an addition problem, and then we will distribute. We take the A, the number on the outside, multiply it to the B. So we have A times B. Again, those will both be numbers in our work today. And then we take the A, the number on the outside, and multiply it to our C. It becomes A times negative C. Again, both numbers. So those are our steps to solving or killing parenthesis. Once we've killed the parenthesis, then we can move on to exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. It happens when variable is stuck on the inside of a parenthesis. All right, moving on here. So our steps to solving, first thing we need to do is we need to combine like terms. So if we have like terms, we need to combine them. We don't always have like terms. We should take a look to make sure we can clean up the problem at all. So combine like terms if possible. After we combine like terms, we're going to use the distributive property, which means to multiply number on outside to both numbers on the inside. Okay, so we should be multiplying numbers on the outside to both numbers on the inside. Sorry about my writing there. I'm trying to write with a tablet pen right now. I'll let you catch up. Go ahead and write. Everybody should be writing step 2 right now. Use the distributive property, multiply number on the outside to both numbers on the inside. All right, in step 3, then, of course, we would want to make sure that we simplify. Okay. So as I start to look at this problem here, my order of operations is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses first. Dilemma that I have right now is that we have a variable on the inside of the parenthesis. The only way we can possibly kill this parenthesis is use the distributive property. It's a math rule that allows us to do that. So we're going to take the number on the outside, which right now is 3, and we're going to multiply it, to the number on the inside. That's a lonely variable x, so it actually has a 1 on the front end called the coefficient. We have 3 multiplied by 1 is 3. We're going to then reattach the variable x, so that becomes 3x. So we multiply the 3 times the 1, and we drag the x down. We keep sign in the middle, and then we distribute. 3 multiplied by 6 is 18. That's called distributive property. That kills the parentheses, and then we can move on. As we move on, we need to combine like terms that have the same variable parts. So we have a 3x and we have an 18. Those are unlike terms, so we are done. 3x plus 18. Nothing else we can do there. Answer is 3x plus 18. In the next example, I'm going to stop, chop, chop here because I have subtraction problem. Order of operations is you have to do the parenthesis first. My dilemma there is that I have a variable on the inside, so there's nothing that I can do, so I'm going to go ahead and use the distributive property. Take number on the outside, which is 2, distribute to the 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Keep sign in middle. Take 2, multiply by negative 4 is negative 8. That's a triangle problem there. We have positive 2. Multiply by negative 4 is negative 8. Drag sign down. Answer is 10 plus negative 8x. Next problem. If you notice on the outside, we have just this negative. We always have to attach a value there. So that's really like a negative 1 on the outside. Go ahead and write a 1 in there so we can make sense of that. And then we're going to stop, chop, chop because we are not going to allow subtraction. Our job is to kill the parenthesis first, order of operations. So we're going to multiply negative 1 times 3. Triangle problem is negative 3. Reattach the variable x. Keep sign in the middle. and take negative 1 and multiply by 7. That's a triangle problem there. We have negative 1 times negative 7 is positive 7. So we have negative 3x plus 7. All right, so that's called distributive property. Now we're going to jazz it up a little bit. We're going to add some combined like terms in here and see what happens. This next problem here, I want to kill parentheses because that's the first thing we do in the order of operations. I'm going to stop, chop, chop here. And I'm going to use the distributive property to kill the parentheses. So I'm going to take the negative 8 and multiply it to negative 2. That's a triangle problem. We have negative on 8. We have negative on 2 becomes positive 16. We keep sign in the middle. We're going to then take the negative 8 and multiply it to negative 5. Negative 8 times negative 5 is a positive 40. Reattach the variable x. We have 16 plus 40x. And we are done because we cannot combine like terms there. Those are unlike terms. 16 does not have a variable x and 40 does. All right, 8th grade, keep going here. Next problem, we have a negative on the outside, so that becomes negative 1. I stopped, chop, chop, I said no on the inside. Our job is to kill that parenthesis first. In order to do that, we use the distributive property. Negative 1 times 9 is negative 9. Reattach the variable x. Keep sign in the middle. Distribute here. Negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. We get negative 9x plus 4. Next problem here. This one's a little bit trickier because we have an extra variable involved in here, so you're going to have to stay with me on this one. Distributive property is going to happen, and I have some lonely variables and some stop, chop, chops. So go ahead and take a look at what I did in red and blue on the screen. Lonely variables, stop, chop, chop. My job is to kill parenthesis. In order to kill parentheses, I use the distributive property. I have to send it in twice. 1 times 1 is 1. Here's what's brand new. X times x becomes x squared. X times x becomes x squared. Brand new. Keep sign in the middle. And then when we take this x, we multiply it to the 3. We have a 1 on the outside. 1 times 3 is 3. Drag the x with you. Now this is on the outside of the parenthesis. It's not part of the group. We're not letting negative 1 in the group at all, unfortunately. So we're going to go ahead and say if you haven't used it, drag it down. There's my answer to that problem. 1x squared plus 3x plus negative 1. Those are unlike terms because they're all different variable parts. All right, guys, moving on to the next problem. I said no. I stop, chop, chop here. I stop, chop, chop here. Order of operations says do the parenthesis first. So I have to do this parenthesis first, which means I'm going to have to kill it somehow. Therefore, this right here is going to have to wait. I cannot do anything with 9 plus because the order of operations, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Addition, which is this sign right here, it comes at the very end. I have to kill the parenthesis first. This is going to have to wait. So if I haven't used it, drag it down is happening. To kill the parenthesis, I'm going to have to take this negative 2 and multiply it through. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. That's a triangle problem. Keep sign in the middle. The sign in the middle is plus. Take negative 2, distribute to negative 3. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. Reattach the variable x. Next step is to combine like terms. Like terms would be these guys, 9 plus negative 6. So we have 9 plus negative 6 gives us positive 3. If I haven't used it, drag it down. Answer is 3 plus 6x. All right, so shifting gears now, we're going to talk about something called factoring. What does it mean to factor? What we're going to do with factoring is we're going to undo distributive property, work it backwards. So we already learned how to do distributive property in for step 1. So now we're going to talk about how to work it backwards so you can show it both ways. So we're going to have this, and we're going to try to get to this. That's called factoring. So go ahead and write those notes down. I'll let you catch up. Next step, we're going to undo what we just got done doing. Opposite of the distributive property. All right, eighth grade, here we go. So we have the distributive property here. I have a stop, chop, chop situation. What I'm asking is, what can I take out of 3 that I can also take out of 9? So we're thinking about factors or what divides into. You can divide each of those terms by 3 because 3 goes into 3 and 3 goes into 9, leaving me then with a 1x in the first spot. And this is a triangle problem here, which is negative 3. So answer then becomes 3 on the outside, and you have a 1x plus -3 on the inside. Here is your answer. We're going opposite of the distributive property. We're actually pulling the parenthesis back. We're bringing it back in. Next problem, we're thinking about what goes into 20 that also goes into 4. You should have said that you can take a 4 out. We might have seen some other things, but we'll start with that one. You can take a 4 out. So we have 20 divided by 4. Take that 4 out, put it on the outside. What's left then is this becomes a 5. Put the x back, plus 1. So we have 5x plus 1. So there we have it. There's the 4 on the outside, 5x plus 1 on the inside. I want you to think about, is there any other way we could have solved that same problem? Notice these are the same problem. Besides taking a 4 out or dividing a 4 out, is there anything else we could have divided out? You should have said, well, yeah, we can divide a 2 out. So let's try that. Let's take a 2 out. Divide by 2 in both terms. Pull that on the outside. So we have 20 divided by 2 is 10. Put the x back. And we have 4 divided by 2 is 2. So there we have it. 2 comes on the outside. We have 10x plus 2 on the inside. And we are done. Okay, top of the next page, page 2. We're going to simplify the expression, which means we're going to use the distributive property. You see 2 parentheses in here. That's what we have to do first, which means you're going to have to kill the parenthesis first. All right, so killing the parenthesis first, I want you to think of it as 2 separate problems. Problem number 1 on the left, distribute. You have -6 times 5 is -30. Keep the sign. There's a lonely variable on the outside. On the inside, I mean. Take the -6 and multiply it to the 1 on the inside. -6, reattach variable x. That kills first parenthesis. Moving on to the second parenthesis, brand new problem here. We take 2 multiplied by 7, that's 14. Reattach variable x, keep sign. Take 2, multiply to 1 is 2. So what I did is I just killed both parentheses. Now the rest of the order of operations kicks in. Exponents, I don't have any. Multiplication, division, I don't have any. Addition, subtraction, next. Combine like terms. So we have -6x and 14x are the like terms there of x's. So that would be, I have to pay $6. I have 14 in the bank. So $14 in the bank, I'm trying to pay 6. That leaves me with $8 left in the bank. Variable is x plus, and then I combine -30 and +2 becomes -28. So my equation, my expression then becomes 8x plus -28. All right, in the next box, I stop, chop, chop, I said no. I said no. I said no. We have a lonely variable, or a lonely term on the outside, not a variable, lonely term. Killing the parenthesis for both. 2 parentheses to kill here, we distribute. 17 times 2 is 14. Reattach the variable x, keep sign in the middle, plus. Take 7, distribute, that's -28. So we have 14x plus -28. Plus, distribute. -1 times 10 is -10. Plus, -1 times -3 is +3. Drag x down. Drag that x down. All right. So we just killed both parentheses. Now, combine like terms. Find the same variable parts. 14x and 3x becomes 17x's. Plus, combine like terms there. That's -28 and -10. Go ahead, use your calculator if you need it, is -38. Answer then is 17x plus -38. Number 3, we have a lonely variable on the outside. We have a lonely variable on the inside. I stop, chop, chop. All right. This is going to have to wait. We have to kill parentheses first. It comes in the order of operation. This is an addition sign right here. That has to wait because addition is at the end of the order of operations. Sending that 1 through, multiplication, that's 14. Reattach the x, plus. Send the 1 through is 5. Plus, send the 1 through is 17. Plus, send the 1 through is -3. Reattach x. Take a look at that. If that was too fast, go ahead and pause that video. And then if I haven't used it, I drag it down. So we have all of that left. Notice I killed the parentheses. Combine like terms now. So I combine the like terms. 6x, 14x, and -3x. So we have all my x's. I have 6 plus 14 is 20 of them. But then I'm going to take 3 away down the back end there. So 17 x's is what's left. Plus 20. Oh, this was supposed to be a -5 there. Sorry about that mistake. Go ahead and look at that operation there. That should have been a -5 coming out of this parenthesis right here. I accidentally had a positive there. Check that out. Good thing I've caught the mistake. See? Gotta really be careful on our signs. So that becomes +12. Answer should be 17x plus 12. Unlike terms, because 17 has a variable in it, 12 does not, so we are done. All right, next problem. We have two parentheses. We have to use the distributive property twice. We have some stop, chop, chops in there, so make sure we take care of that. And we have a lonely variable on the outside, a lonely term on the outside. All right, using the distributive property. So when I distribute, we go -1 times 2 is -2, triangle problem. Keep sign. -1 times -1 is +1. Reattach the variable x. That kills the first parenthesis. Plus distribute is -18. Plus distribute. -3 times 8 is -24. Put the x back. This is totally on its own on the outside because it's an add. An add comes at the end of that order of operations. So if I haven't used it, I drag it down. Combine like terms. Looking for like terms. Put the numbers together first. Here we have -2, -18, and -12. When I combine those, you can use your calculator on those. -2, -18, and -12 becomes -32. Then finally combining the x's, we have 1x and -24x is -23x. So we have -32 plus -23x. Number 5. Okay, so for number 5, we have some lonely variables in there. We have a 1 here. We have a 1 here. I have some stop, chop, chops. I have 1s on the outside. I have a stop, chop, chop on the inside in here. Stop, chop, chop on the inside in there. Distributive property. I distribute gives us 1. Reattach variable x. Distribute is 2. Plus distribute is -1. Reattach variable x. Plus distribute -2 or +2. You have a -1 times a -2 is +2. So we end up with that as we kill it. If I haven't used it, drag it down. Plus -12x. Combining like terms. We have 1x, -1x, and -12x. 1x, -1x, and -12x. That becomes 0 and -12x. Combining other like terms, the numbers 2 and 2 gives us a 4. So we end up with -12x plus 4. Unlike terms, because -12 has a variable x in it, 4 does not, so we are done. All right, and then the last topic is to undo the distributive property. So looking to see what can we divide out of 10 that we can also divide out of 15. We can take a 5 out of both of those. So let's pull a 5 out front. 10 divided by 5 becomes 2 in this spot. So it becomes a 2. Sign stays in the middle. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Reattach the x. So we end up with this as our answer. 5 on the outside, 2 plus 3x on the inside. Next problem over here, I'm going to stop, chop, chop both of these. So let's go ahead and stop, chop, chop the outside as well as the inside. I'm looking at the numbers 8 and 12 and wondering what I can divide by. Lots of options. You could divide by 2, but I'm going to try to go with the biggest and the best, which is division by 4 of both terms. So I'm going to take a 4 on the outside. We have 8 divided by 4, which is 2. Reattach the variable x. And on the right-hand side, we have a triangle problem. We have -12 divided by -12 divided by +4 leaves us with a -3. So there's my answer there using the distributive property. So remember to stop, chop, chop, because then you don't have to worry about your signs. Make sure you do that first. And then just remember the distributive property. Number on the outside, you send it into both. You have to send it in 2 times. 2 times. Your homework for tonight is to finish page 3 and page 4 due tomorrow. Have a great night.